In The Incredibles, the spotlight usually shines on familiar faces like Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, or Frozone. But there's also a lesser-known hero who left a lasting mark, Gazerbeam. He wasn't just a tragic side character. He played a key role in turning the tide against Syndrome. In this video, let's dive into everything about Gazerbeam so we can see why this minor hero was actually essential, and why many believe he's the most underrated character in the entire movie. Let's go! Appearance and powers. Gazerbeam's real name is Simon J. Palladino. In Italian, Palladino means knight, a defender of justice and the innocent, which perfectly fits his superhero identity. Before becoming Gazerbeam, Simon worked as a lawyer, a profession that later fueled his strong advocacy for the rights of supers. He stood for justice in the courtroom and fought for it in real life under his hero suit. At first, he hesitated to use his powers, but with encouragement from Mr. Incredible, Frozone, and Gamma Jack, he fully stepped into the superhero path. He was once part of teams like the Fantasmics, and later became the leader of the Thrilling Three. When the super ban was issued, he didn't stay silent. He became one of the loudest voices demanding justice, which made him a target for Syndrome. His tragic fate came when he was defeated by the Omnidroid on Nomanison Island. In his final moments, he used his laser vision to carve the password KRONOS into the rock wall, an act that later helped the Parr family take down Syndrome. In terms of appearance, Gazerbeam was tall, strong, and well-built, the classic superhero look. He had dark brown hair, a firm expression, and wore glasses in his everyday life. As a lawyer, he appeared in neat suits that reflected his serious nature. As Gazerbeam, he wore a dark navy hero suit with a sky blue V symbol at the collar. His helmet, marked with GB, worked both as a visor to control his laser eyes and as his superhero emblem. This design gave him a mix of strength and mystery, making him stand out among other supers. Gazerbeam's main ability was his optical lasers, heat beams fired directly from his eyes. These could reach extreme temperatures, powerful enough to cut through solid metal or destroy fortified objects in seconds. His special helmet allowed him to concentrate and aim the beams more accurately. But this power was also a curse. He couldn't look at anything for too long. One slip of focus could ignite whatever he stared at. This made eye contact almost impossible, often causing others to see him as cold or distant. It was his greatest personal weakness. A power meant to protect people ended up isolating him from them. Beyond his laser eyes, Gazerbeam also had superhuman endurance. NSA records show he could fight and operate for long periods without tiring, allowing him to stand against threats like the Omnidroid. He was also highly intelligent, with strong technical skills, including hacking into advanced security systems. Thanks to this combination of strength and brains, he managed to infiltrate Syndrome's base and leave the crucial clue, Kronos, before his death. Still, his powers had critical limits. His lasers could bounce off reflective surfaces like mirrors or polished metal, creating the risk of harming himself. On top of that, he had poor night vision and needed glasses when driving at night. Many fans compare Gazerbeam to Marvel's Cyclops, but the difference is clear. Cyclops shoots force blasts, while Gazerbeam fires actual heat lasers. That's why mirrors are dangerous for Gazerbeam but not for Cyclops. This distinction makes him a unique variant among eye-powered heroes. In short, Gazerbeam's powers were a mix of destructive offense, incredible stamina, and sharp intellect. But they also came with harsh limitations that made him both powerful and vulnerable. That's why, even with such a brief appearance, he left such a strong impression, reminding us that every power comes with a price, and even superheroes can be as conflicted and fragile as ordinary people. Personality and career. Complex, eventful, and full of depth. These are the words that best describe Gazerbeam's personality and career. On the surface, he was often seen as dull, speaking in a monotone voice, rarely showing humor or strong emotions. However, according to his own NSA file, Gazerbeam described himself as a man of culture, passion, and humor, cold on the outside but laughing on the inside. This reveals a rich inner world hidden beneath restraint and the limitations caused by his powers. As mentioned earlier, the greatest tragedy that shaped his character was his inability to look anyone in the eye for too long, since his gaze could set things on fire. This curse forced him to live cautiously, avoiding direct eye contact, which made him seem distant, cold, and even rude or uncaring. His social isolation turned him into a lonely figure, lacking close emotional bonds, which may have also contributed to the breakdown of superhero teams he once joined. Yet behind this closed-off exterior, Gazerbeam was intelligent, dedicated, and deeply responsible. He was considered one of the smartest members of the Thrilling Three, with rare technological and hacking skills among the supers. He was also a loyal friend to Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone. His presence at the front row of Bob and Helen's wedding was proof of the respect and closeness he shared with them. This shows that, even if he sometimes appeared distant, he truly valued meaningful relationships. Gazerbeam's career was both glorious and tragic, reflecting the turbulent path of heroes in The Incredibles. He began as a lawyer, defending justice and protecting the vulnerable in the courtroom. This background shaped his strong belief in fairness before he fully embraced the role of superhero, armed with his laser vision. The decision was encouraged by Mr. Incredible, Frozone, and Gamma Jack, who believed Simon was capable of even greater things. At first, Simon planned to call himself Viewpoint.
How about Viewpoint?
But other supers didn't like the name. It was Mr. Incredible who suggested Gazerbeam. In his golden years, Gazerbeam became a prominent figure, appearing not only on superhero trading cards and TV alongside Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, but also maintaining close ties with the Dever family. Still, his team career was far from smooth. During his time in the Phantasmics, he left the group due to conflicts with their leader, Everseer. Some fans speculated that Syndrome's base on Nomanison Island was once the Phantasmics' headquarters, which might explain why Gazerbeam knew of it. However, this theory was dismissed since the Phantasmics base was located in the Atlantic Ocean, while Syndrome's island was in the Pacific. Later, when he joined the Thrilling Three, the death of Dynaguy elevated him to leader. But the team quickly fractured and dissolved. With his quiet nature and overwhelming power, Gazerbeam unintentionally created distance between himself and his teammates. According to Apogee's testimony in NSA records, under his leadership the team became the Thrilling 1+2, meaning Gazerbeam's presence overshadowed the others. The group's collapse was partly due to his poor social skills and partly due to jealousy from teammates toward his powers. This pattern of broken teamwork marked his career, even though his talent and intellect were always acknowledged. When the government enforced the superhero ban, Gazerbeam refused to fade into silence. He returned to law, but this time as a public advocate for supers' rights. He spoke boldly about restoring their legality, which quickly made him a target for Syndrome. During Operation Kronos, he was hunted and brought to Nomanison Island. That's why his name, Simon J. Palladino, appeared in a newspaper Bob read under the headline, "Missing Man." On the island, Gazerbeam fought bravely, defeating one version of the Omnidroid, but ultimately fell to a newer model. Some believe this Omnidroid had reflective surfaces specifically designed to counter his lasers. What gave his career immortal value was his final act before death. Gravely wounded, Gazerbeam still managed to infiltrate Syndrome's base, uncover his plan to wipe out supers, and discover the secret password, Kronos. With the last of his strength, he carved the word into a cave wall as a message for whoever might find it. That single clue saved Mr. Incredible and his family, allowing them to expose Syndrome's plan and turn the battle around. Even in death, Gazerbeam continued to help. Mr. Incredible later used his body to block Syndrome's scanners and escape capture. Gazerbeam's career ended with silent sacrifice, but the legacy he left behind shines brightly. He wasn't the hero celebrated on the battlefield or praised by the public, but rather the hero who stood in the shadows, carrying personal tragedy and loneliness, only to offer light at the most crucial moment. Without him, The Incredibles' victory might never have happened. For this reason, Gazerbeam deserves to be remembered as one of the least seen but most unforgettable heroes, a true hero in every sense of the word. The most underrated superhero? In the eyes of the audience, Gazerbeam is one of the rare heroes in The Incredibles who feels both powerful and tragic, yet remains forgotten and underappreciated. Many agree that he is truly the most underrated hero, because his role was far more important than the short screen time he was given. In fact, it was Gazerbeam's final act, carving the word Kronos into the cave wall, that became the key for Mr. Incredible to uncover Syndrome's plan. Without this detail, the Parr family might have been defeated. Yet this life-saving contribution was reduced to nothing more than a skeleton in a cave, hiding the recognition and honor he rightfully deserved. Fans also sympathize deeply with his personal tragedy. They point out that Gazerbeam's power was a kind of curse, preventing him from having normal emotional or social relationships because of the risk of burning anyone he looked at for too long. This made him a lonely figure, often misunderstood as cold or uncaring. Viewers believe that this isolation only made his death sadder, a hero who sacrificed himself in silence, not even knowing if his final effort would ever be discovered. In addition, fans have expressed regret that certain details honoring Gazerbeam, such as his funeral scene that was cut from Incredibles 2, never appeared on screen. Many argue that if such a scene had been included, his role and sacrifice would have received the recognition they deserved. Some even hope Pixar will one day make a prequel dedicated to Gazerbeam, telling the story of his golden years and his tragic journey, believing his tale is deep enough to stand on its own. In short, audiences see Gazerbeam as underrated not because he lacked power or courage, but because everything he did was crucial yet left uncelebrated. He embodies the image of a true hero in the shadows, quietly fighting, sacrificing, and leaving behind a decisive legacy, while never getting the chance to witness the victory he helped create. Looking back at Gazerbeam's entire journey, we realize he wasn't just a passing side character in The Incredibles. He was a symbol of tragedy, devotion, and quiet courage. His limited presence on screen contrasted with his immense importance in the story, turning Gazerbeam into something truly special. Perhaps it is this very lack of glory that makes his legacy even more cherished by fans, reminding us that sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who stay in the shadows, allowing the light to shine on others. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. Don't forget to like and subscribe to catch more Incredibles videos from What the Toon. See ya!